What's up, everybody? It's AT. In just one moment, we are going to jump into the latest from Coach Prime, and specifically the one thing that I have learned as I have watched this man work the transfer portal like a speed bag. We're going to talk Coach Prime momentarily, the latest commit, who could be next, and what it all means in the big picture. Before we get to it, though, want to quickly remind you, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of the screen? Go ahead, subscribe to the Aaron Torres Pod YouTube channel, all new college football content every single day, portal, NIL, transfers, this, that. We'll obviously start previewing the bowl games momentarily. Just hit 30,000 subscribers on this channel. Can we get to 35K before the new year? I think we can, but not without your support. So go ahead and click that subscribe button. With that said, though, I just mentioned it. I do want to talk Coach Prime, and I want to talk about a big picture thing that I have learned from him watching him maneuver the portal over the last couple of days, okay? Before we get to it, though, it is worth noting that on Tuesday, we did a big picture portal update across college football, talking all sorts of teams, Nebraska, Miami, and we certainly included Colorado, who over the weekend picked up 6 transfer portal commitments, including 4 along the offensive line, players that were very much needed. We talked about all those guys. I don't need to rehash it. If you missed those videos, I do encourage you to go back and check it out. But at the same time, this is how quick Coach Prime works in the portal, okay? As soon as I went live and as soon as I got off air on Tuesday night, you know what ended up happening? Coach Prime picked up another transfer offensive lineman, and frankly, maybe the best one yet. Matthew Bedford, a kid who played the last 5 years at Indiana, has started 38 games at the Power 5 level. Remember, Khalil Benson, a fellow offensive lineman from Indiana, committed over the weekend. Well, Matthew Bedford commits on Tuesday, and I would argue outside Jordan Seaton, the 5-star can't miss, or I certainly don't think he can miss, All-American in the high school ranks. I would argue Matthew Bedford is the most important offensive line recruit they've gotten yet. This is a kid that played 4 different positions at Indiana. Left tackle, left guard, right tackle, right guard, okay? On top of that, 38 games in the Big Ten. I mean, you cannot replicate that experience, that talent, that success. And I would add this too. For all the people that want to criticize Coach Prime whenever he does anything, this is not a player that you could sit there and say, well, I mean, come on. I mean, he's at Colorado. How good could he be? Because that's the criticism, right? I mean, these are the criticisms that Coach Prime gets. When he signs a 5-star, it's like, well, you need more than one 5-star. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, we get that. But then he goes out against portal kids, and it's like, well, how good are they if they're da, da, da? Well, I can tell you this about Matthew Bedford, okay? Matthew Bedford, right before he got to Colorado, and right before he committed to Colorado, you know where he visited last weekend? He visited Auburn. Not sure if you heard of him. Pretty good in the SEC. Hugh Freeze is closing in on what I believe to be a top 10 high school recruiting class. So if you're good enough for Auburn, if you're good enough for the SEC, do not tell me that this is just some kid and it doesn't matter. This is a big commitment for Colorado. Matthew Bedford signing on Tuesday. What's crazy is they might not be done yet, though, not along the offensive line. They're certainly not done. But on the offensive line, the most high-profile transfer may still be in the works. So I'm not speculating anything. I'm just reading the tea leaves. I'm just starting to pay attention. But on Tuesday, a kid by the name of Caden Green, who was a top 100 recruit in last year's class, signed at Oklahoma, actually started 5 games for Oklahoma this past season. He hits the portal. Now, he's from Missouri. He played with Williams-Nwaneri, who, of course, is a 5-star player committed to Missouri. And so when this kid, when Caden Green hit the portal on Tuesday, the first assumption was, probably going to end up going back home, going to Missouri. Except here's the thing. Those keen Coach Prime observers noticed something else. You know where Colorado's new offensive line coach came from? Phil Lodeholt. Oh, he came from Oklahoma. And so there's buzz that Caden Green could be next. I saw, by the way, Matthew Bedford tweeting about Caden Green. So there's probably a pretty good chance that you are going to get Caden Green as well, a guy who started 5 games at Oklahoma last year. We'll see what happens. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not projecting it. I'm just saying this is the smoke. And so if you get Caden Green, even if you don't, let's get to what I have learned about Coach Prime this offseason. I know I said it's one thing, but it's really two or three. The biggest picture thing that I have learned, though, is that while everybody else is talking about him, and I include myself, I haven't always been perfect. It hasn't been nothing but rainbows and sunshine. I was criticizing him towards the end of the year. Well, I was criticizing Colorado, but you get the point. Why I bring it up is because while there's all this noise going on around Coach Prime, you know what Coach Prime is doing? He's locked in. He's trying to get better. And what I have learned over the last week, there is very clearly a plan that none of us, and I include myself, I ain't perfect, I include myself, that we are not privy to ourselves, and Coach Prime executes it at the highest level. Because just think about where we were with Colorado, say 3 weeks ago, right? Coming out of the season, what ends up happening? You finish 4-8, disappointing end. You lose your last, whatever it is, 4, 5, 6 games, whatever it is, finish 4-8 overall. And then what happens? A couple players hit the portal. A couple players running their mouths. Oh, the locker room's divided, this, that, the other thing. You see all these reports. Oh, it's chaos at Colorado. They end up losing a couple assistant coaches. And it felt like at that moment, it was like, man, is this offseason? And then it was the other thing too of keep in mind is like, well, I mean, Coach Prime crushed his offensive line during the season. There's no way that anyone's going to want to come play from this offseason. No way, because everybody knows that if things go bad, the offensive line is going to be the scapegoat, on and on and on and on and on. Well, I bring it up because what did I just tell you? All the stuff that everybody was saying about Coach Prime 3, 4, 5 weeks ago is obviously dead wrong. Well, everybody else was saying there's no way he's going to be able to put together an offensive line after this past season. What did he do? He went out and got the best offensive tackle in high school football, Jordan Seaton. We have talked about him, okay? On top of that, this is the amazing part to me. He works in silence. The old Lil Wayne line, moving silence like lasagna. I bring it up because think about Coach Prime. We knew he needed help on the offensive line, in the portal. And by Sunday afternoon, he got 4 guys committed. And that's the part that I'm talking about, moving in silence. These weren't guys that were on everybody's radar. I think I saw that Khalil Benson was on campus on Friday, and boom, by Saturday night, he's a buff. He's taking pictures. He's sending out tweets. I'm sure he's on Instagram, blah, 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 this and that. And so while everybody else, all the outside noise, all Coach Prime did was work in silence. Who's available? How do we get him here? By the way, we're going to get him here as quick as possible. We're going to let him know that we need help at their specific spot. And oh, by the way, on top of that, we're going to get them committed before they have a chance to go anywhere else. And so the fact that he moved this quickly in the portal, that is freaking impressive. Man with a plan. I respect it. I love it. And I'll go back to something I said on a few clips ago. I can't remember which one. One of the things I respect about him, his plan is a little bit different than the way it's been done in a lot of college football, throughout the years. And what I mean by that is I even remember during the season, there were talks about getting this recruit to campus or that recruit to campus or da-da-da-da. And he said, no. Our big recruiting is going to come after the season. I would love to have players on campus. Jordan Seaton visited twice. The Cam Michael kid who just committed, I believe, visited once or twice a few weeks. Cam Michael committed on Thanksgiving Day. But the point I'm trying to bring up is like, you want to have kids on campus. But what he kept saying was, no. We want to focus on the offseason when I can spend all weekend with them, showing them around, showing them the plan, showing them whatever. And it's clearly working. Beyond that, and I would say this because I've said this a few times this offseason, I think the other thing that stands out to me is that I don't think that we can, as consumers, now I'm in the media, but you have to be careful who you listen to in terms of consumers, and you can't project your opinions as a 30, 40, 50, 60, 70-year-old adult, however you are, on a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid. And I've said this many times. But to us as adults, it was, everything's going wrong. Nobody's going to want to play there. And you know what kids see? They see an awesome coach who was a Hall of Famer. I said it before. I'll say it again. Jordan Seaton, the most interesting thing he said when he committed was that guy over there, Coach Prime, has a gold jacket, and I want one too. So kids don't look at the same things we do. They don't look at whatever. They don't look at the same things we do. And you look at what he has been able to do. Cool program, cool coach, Hall of Famer. Most importantly, the need for you, the need for you and your abilities on campus right now. Like, I think we all look at Colorado going 4-8 as a negative. You know what Coach Prime is selling behind the scenes? Oh, that's a positive. That's the best thing that ever happened to you, son. Come in here. There's nobody standing in your way. There's nobody to stop you from reaching from reaching the opportunity to be a starter day one and then get to the league. It's not going to happen for everybody. Like I said, they've taken 6 offensive linemen now. You can only start 5 of them. You're probably going to take a few more. So it's not as though all these guys are going to be starters. All these guys are going to be difference makers. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying, though, he clearly had a plan. He clearly had a vision. And I think what's important to remember, kids don't hear the noise in many ways like we do. They don't care about the same things that we do. Well, we're all freaking out. Oh, they lost to Washington State. They lost to this. He complained about his offensive line after UCLA. You know what those offensive linemen that have visited the last week said? Yeah, I'm going to be better than them. It ain't no problem. It ain't no problem. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what's next for Coach Prime. I'm so fascinated because see these sleeves right here? He's got a few tricks up these sleeves. There's going to be some 5 stars as we get closer to signing day that we think are going somewhere. And then all of a sudden, Colorado's going to be in the mix. And that portal is going to be hopping. If you enjoyed this video, do me a quick favor. Make sure to subscribe to the Aaron Torres Pod YouTube channel. By the way, I've told you before and I'll tell you again. We do sell merch, all different teams, all different schools. But one of our best sellers is our Coach Prime. You want to grab one of these bad boys? Great gift for friends, great gift for family, holiday season. Link is in the show description. They're pretty, listen, they're nice. They're, the material's nice. Get them for friends, get them for family. Should mention, by the way, we also have our Coach Prime beanies. We got them in black. We got them in white. We got a few of them left. If you like what you see, you want to support Torres. I don't ask for much, but if you want to support me, go ahead, click the link in the show description. We got plenty available. Great Christmas gift coming up quick. Order now. I'll be back tomorrow, probably talking about Coach Prime.